welcome back to my channel. My name is Ray, otherwise known as Disney Circus Girl. If you're new here and you like what you see, hit that like button. If you like it, hit the subscribe button as well. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. It'll let you know when I've posted a new video. Okay, so today's video, as the title suggests, is about the different ways of getting to Disneyland Paris and what might be the best way for you. If you are travelling from the UK, you have three ways of getting from the UK to France. And when you're in France, again, there are multiple ways of getting from wherever you've arrived in France to Disneyland Paris, depending on what form of transport you've taken. Okay, so at the end of this video as well, I shall say which method I prefer to take and why. So we're just going to get into this now. So the first method of transportation to Disneyland Paris would be by plane. You can fly out from anywhere in the UK that flies to France. You have relatively cheap flights with carriers like EasyJet. You can they fly from Gatwick to Charles de Gaulle. They fly from all sorts of airports in the UK. There's loads of airports that fly from wherever they are to Charles de Gaulle, or there's another airport, Orly. They'll fly there as well. Now, if you fly, the bonuses are the flight is mega quick. The flight is about half an hour, if that. It's literally you're up and you're down. We spent a maximum, when I flew it, we spent a maximum of 20 minutes in the air, and then we were back on the ground. I think it was 22 minutes in total that we were in the air, and then we were on the ground. So yeah, and once you land at, well, let's say Charles de Gaulle, because that's the main airport. So once you land at Charles de Gaulle, you have several ways of getting from Charles de Gaulle to Disneyland Paris. The quickest of these ways by far is going to be the TGV, the train. It's literally, you'll get on the train and it's 4 or 5 minutes, if that, and you're in Disneyland Paris. Because Disneyland Paris is the next, Marne-la-Vallée is the next stop. So that's by far the quickest. It's also the cheapest, I think, if you are flying. So I think it's around about, I can't remember, but yeah, it's the cheapest, definitely the cheapest to go from the airport to and from the airport to Disneyland Paris. And the other ways of getting there, you can hire an Uber or a BlaBlaCar, or you can just get a taxi. These are all very pricey, so I wouldn't suggest doing those. You can hire a car if you really want to. I wouldn't suggest, I mean, you could do, if you want to go somewhere else in France and you're confident with driving around, then by all means hire a car. However, I personally wouldn't, because most of the time you're going to spend in France, most trips you're not going to be in France for very long, and there are like in France the trains are so reliable, and just, yeah, there are a lot more effective ways of traveling around than car. The final way to get to Disneyland Paris from the airport is by the Magic Shuttle. Now, this is a bus service that you can use to get from, and this works for the partner hotels, not just the Disney hotels. Anyone can use this. You go on the Magic Shuttle website. It's €23 each way. And this will take roughly around about 40 to 50 minutes, if that. It depends on the traffic. If you get there in the evening, the traffic is going to be a nightmare. However, once you get going, it's actually really quick. The only downside is the drivers don't speak English, so when they come and ask you, say, which hotel you're going to, they won't ask you that in English, and they can get quite rude. So I would say try and just learn certain words in French, just so you know what they're asking you. But yeah, that's quite a fun way of arriving. If you've got kids, I think that's probably quite an exciting way to arrive at Disneyland Paris. And it also goes to where the train station at Marne-la-Vallée is, so it can take you straight to the parks if you are an annual pass holder or you've already got your tickets. So you can just go, and then you can drop your bags off at the guest storage, which, if you are a Infinity Pass holder, is free. It's that, to me, if I was flying, I would probably choose that, purely because the train station at the airport, I think, gets very crowded. I wouldn't like to, I don't think I'd like to try that one. Although what I will say about the Magic Shuttle is it's not signposted once you get to the airport. So just come out of, yeah, it's I can't even describe it. You have to go from, I think I came in at Terminal 2E, and you have to go to Terminal 2D or 2F. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it's down one of those. No, I came in at 2D. I had to go to 2E or F, and yeah, it's quite a walk. And once you find it, and it's great. But there's very little in the way of signage, and when there are signs, they're very small. But there are plenty of people and airport staff around, and they do speak English, and they are very polite, very helpful. So just go up to one of them, say, "Excusez-moi, parlez-vous anglais?" and they'll help you out. So that's one way of getting to Disneyland Paris. Now, the next way, if you live down south in particular, although this is a fantastic way of getting there for anyone, is by Eurostar. Now, Eurostar leaves from London St Pancras, Ebbsfleet International and Ashford International. They run both indirect and direct services. Direct services do not go every day. The direct service only ones run once a day when it does go. So it gets you into Disneyland Paris. It takes you literally straight to Disneyland Paris, and it gets you in about 2 o'clock local time. If you have you've booked a package, you will either, like at Ashford, they have in the departures lounge in Ashford, they have a check-in desk, so you'll get all your hotel check-in, you'll get your park tickets and all that lot. You'll get all of that at Ashford. It's also the Disney Express check-in, where they'll put a luggage tag on your luggage, and when you get to the other end at Marne-la-Vallée, you take your luggage to the Disney Express desk, and they take it to your hotel for you. Now, if you go from London St Pancras, this will be done on the train. So if you travel from London St Pancras, your express check-in and everything will be done on the train. But this is the privileges of having the Disney Express check-in is that you can check into your hotels, you get your park tickets, and you can, and all that, and you can just go straight into the parks once you get there. Now, if you're an annual pass holder and you're travelling by Eurostar, don't worry, they have the guest storage. As if you're an annual pass holder, you'll know this. They do have guest storage. However, it's only Infinity Pass holders that can use this service for free. This came into force with the April 2019 annual passes. You have to have an Infinity Pass to get you in, and the Infinity Passes are the black ones. The gold ones, the Magic Plus, they used to get you free storage at the guest storage. They don't anymore. So if you haven't got a Infinity Pass, you're not getting the free storage. However, but it doesn't cost much to store it anyway. So I would just say, just take your luggage there and whack it in there, you know. But yeah, that's Eurostar it's very quick. It's if you go from Ashford, it's a 2-hour long journey. If you go from London St Pancras, it's around about I'd say probably a 3-hour journey, 2.5, 3 hours. I can't say for Ebbsfleet International because I've never gone from Ebbsfleet International. It's just not a station I've been to. It's not particularly one that's easy to get to for me. But I'm smack bang in the middle of nowhere in Kent, sat filming this, and most of the time when I go from here, so it's a case of like the nearest town to here is actually Ashford, so it's basically on my doorstep. So of course I'm going to go from Ashford International. And if you're scared of the trains going underground or through the tunnel, you're only in the tunnel for 20 minutes. That's it. It's not a long journey. For the majority of the journey, you're just going through France, and it's actually really scenic. The next form of transport, and this is again, if you want to drive, let's say, you have 2 ways of driving there, and that is, the first one is Le Shuttle. Again, this is like Eurostar, it's a train, only it will take you in, it's the transport train, so you'll get cars, trucks, caravans, campers, coaches, all this is the car train. You cannot see out of the windows on this particular train, as far as I remember. Like, there's little windows, but there's nothing. So yeah, I haven't travelled on Le Shuttle since 1999, when I went on a school trip to Germany, and we went via there. But yeah, it takes you to Calais, and then you have a 3.5 or 4 hour drive down to Disneyland. And the same goes for the ferry. If you take the ferry, you can go as a foot passenger, or if you're driving, you can take the ferry. I'm not sure how long the ferry crossing takes. It's one I'd like to do. It's one I'd like to try. But yeah, it takes you to Calais, and from there you can either take a train to Disneyland Paris, or you can drive if you're driving. Again, the drive is about 3.5 to 4 hours long. Taking the train, you're looking at about 2 hours, if that. Because it's an hour from Lille to Disneyland. Actually, speaking of Lille, that takes me back to the Eurostar. Now, the Eurostar, like I said, you can get indirect trains, which means changing at Lille. And sometimes that means changing train station as well. However, do not worry about this. It's so easy, like unbelievably easy, to find this other train station in Lille. So in Lille, you'll either change at Lille Europe, or you'll come off at Lille Europe and you'll get back on the train at Lille Flandre. Now, Lille Flandre is, you'll come out of the station, the escalators, go down the escalators, you'll see the shopping centre to your left. It's a huge shopping centre, you cannot miss it. Just go past that, keep walking past that, and you'll see the train station, you'll see Lille Flandre. So it's that simple. It's just that the two train stations are separated by a shopping centre. So it's really no problem at all. It's quite a good system. It's, yeah. So having spoken about all three, all 4, 5, there's several. So having spoken about all the different ways to get to Disneyland Paris, how do I like to get there? Personally, Eurostar. I have flown there before. Like I said, I have used Le Shuttle on a school trip. I haven't yet taken the ferry. However, my preferred method of travelling to Disneyland Paris is Eurostar, and that is because even though flying, the flight is actually a lot quicker, I like the luxury of being able to just step into Disneyland Paris. It's like I get on the train in the United Kingdom. I often take the indirect because it's a lot cheaper, and I do like sort of looking around the shopping centre in Lille. But even so, just to get off the train and step into Disneyland Paris, that is my preferred method. It's when you look at all the procedure at the airport and how you're going to get to Disneyland Paris afterwards, it's just, it can take a long time. And some people on YouTube have actually done flying versus Eurostar, indirect Eurostar, and indirect was still quicker. So I would say Eurostar is my preferred way of travelling. I also know from when I travelled on Eurostar with my son last year, we met some people who, they were backpacking around the world. They were from America. And they had flown into the UK, and they were going to fly on to France, and then they realised they could just get the train. So they got the train instead, and then they actually got the train back to the UK to fly out from there. They decided that taking the Eurostar would be an experience in itself, which it is, because it's a train that's taking you to a different country. It's taking you under the sea to a different country. So, you know, I would say even if you are coming over from America, why not? Why not come to the UK first, see the sights of London, do some of the things you want to do in the UK, and then get on the train and go to Disneyland Paris. Yeah. So yeah, my preferred way of travel to Disneyland Paris has to be the Eurostar. Okay, so that is all for today. I hope this has given you some help and insight as to how to get to Disneyland Paris. I hope it's helped you decide how you personally would like to get to Disneyland Paris. And let me know what course you would take, and I shall see you next time. Oh, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know below what course you would take, what form of transport you would take to get to Disneyland Paris. Okay, so that's all for now, and I shall see you next time. Bye.